You can use it, but I'm still going to teach the entire class. I'm also live streaming this class right now. So if you pull up the live stream, my computer should be on your screen. It's up. Okay, what we're doing is we are making it so that you can have a timer that goes up every second. So we're going to count how many seconds are passed. This is really useful for having a game where the character has to get to the end of a maze in a certain amount of time, under 60 seconds or something. Or you can do it for like an RPG game. You're keeping track of how many hours that have been played or having a day-night system. All kinds of stuff that you can use this for. Now, this will work in any template. The first step for all of you guys is I want you to open up the blueprint for your character. That now. In this case, I happen to be using the third-person character template. So I'm going to find my third-person character, edit blueprint, open blueprint editor. What type of template do you have? There must be a character somewhere in there. Probably look in your content browser. Look for third-person character. Israel will come around to help you, so raise your hand if you need help. Yours is going to be the whatever the physics blocker. So you're going to open it up. Edit blueprint. Yep. Okay, so you should be looking at this kind of codey graph thing. And once you find the empty area of the code, and look up an event by right-clicking called event tick. Somebody tell me what event tick does. What does event tick do? And what is a tick? Yeah, it ticks every second. Okay, perfect. So listen, when you look up event tick, you might already have something that's using event tick. And there's only one event tick. You can't look up multiple. Oh no, what do we do? It's really simple. All you need is to look up a handy-dandy node called sequence. So if you drag off event tick, this will work for anything, you can pull up what's called a sequence node. And all it does is it gives you more little triangles to put more code graphs off of. Okay? Because if you've ever done this, you looked up begin play, you're already using begin play, you're like, oh, what do I do? Just pull a sequence node off of that. All right, what we're going to do is dragging off event tick or dragging off our sequence, whatever. I want you to look up a delay node. Delay. Does anyone know what a delay node does? Anybody know what a delay node does? Huh? What does it do? Yeah. So what delay node does is it makes our code wait a certain number of seconds before it's allowed to execute. Right now, it's delaying at 0.2, which means that the code after our delay will only fire every 0.2 seconds. I want you to put 1 for 1 second into our duration. Because what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to set a variable that adds it to itself once per second. So we only want that code to happen once every second. So drag now, actually not drag, you've done delay. We now need to make something called a variable. What is a variable? Something that can change, yeah. Variable. What I like to do is think of a variable as a little storage container for information. So we want a little storage container to contain how many seconds have passed in our game. So let's make that. Everybody in the left, where it says variables, I want you to click on the plus icon. Right where it says variables, there's a little plus button. Click that. That's how you create a new variable. Name it time. And you need to change what type of variable it is, because right now it's a Boolean, on or off. What type of variable should our time variable be? Integer, yeah, absolutely. Why an integer? Why integer?
Integers are real numbers.
Yeah, integers are numbers, right? If we want to add something over time, it's going to be a number, an integer. So change variable type to integer. All right. Now, I want you to drag time onto your graph. And choose set time. Choose set. Okay. And you can connect that from the delay node going in the front of set. And you see right now it's setting the time to 0. What we want to do is we want to set the time to whatever itself happens to be plus 1. So that every time this code is executed, it adds 1, adds 1, adds 1. So when it happens that the code is at 0, when it gets executed, time happens to be now at 1. When it was 1 before, this code gets executed, now it's at 2 and 3. It was at 2,221 before. Next time it's executed, it should be at 2,222, right? Incrementing up. To do that, drag time or variable again onto your graph, but this time choose get. Choose get time. Drag off of that, get time, drag off of that and type in plus. You drag the variable onto your graph. Again. So you're going to look up plus. You either type in the symbol plus, the word plus. You choose integer plus integer. Boom, you get this node that adds something, right? It's adding 1. Perfect. That's all we need. Now we just want to connect the result of that plus node into the front of set time. All right, so I see hand raised. Tristan, could you come around and help people with their hands raised? If you're lost, raise your hand. I have to continue with the lesson, but other people in here will help you. Please raise your hand if you need help. Okay. All right, next thing I want to show you is something called print string. Who's used this before? Print string. You have? Cool. 2 people have used it. All right, you all should know what print string is because it's really useful. All print string is it's a node for writing little messages to ourselves. Okay, so it's a way of writing messages to ourselves as developers to make sure our code is working and doing the things it should do. So if you drag off set time, I want you to type in print string. Type in print string. Now where it says in string, okay, that's the word that it's going to print forward. And by print, I mean this. When you hit play, in the left of your game, you'll actually see the little words and numbers going up and down. What I want you to do is I want to connect our variable into this in string, a print string, so we can see that our number is going up over time. So the next step is to drag time again onto your graph, do a get, and plug it into the in string label of print string. And then play. Hit play, and you should see on the top left a number every second appear, and it should be the number of the seconds passed. It should be the number this variable is. So if it's not working, just raise your hand. Okay, Moises? Tristan, will you go help Moises over there? Okay. And by the way, if you want to make a game where it's counting down, you would just do a minus instead of a plus. So, okay. Now, what we want to do next is actually make like a menu, a HUD, that displays how many seconds are remaining. So to do that, we're going to go back to the front of Unreal. And we want to add a widget. We're adding something new. Somebody tell us, how do we add something new? Add new, exactly. The big add new button in the bottom left. So everybody click add new. Add new. Category is called user interface at the very bottom. And then widget blueprint. Add new, user interface, widget blueprint. Name it player menu. And then double click to open it up. Raise your hand if you need help. People will come on by. They don't know if you need help unless you raise your hand. So again, we're doing add new, user interface, widget blueprint, name it player menu, double click, open it up, your screen should look like mine. This is the widget editor. So what are widgets? Widgets are menus. Your game is going to have hundreds, probably 50 menus at least, right? You've got pause menus, you've got start menus, you've got loading menus, you've got saving menus, you've got death screens, you've got a HUD, you've got a health bar, you've got stamina, you've got a level up screen, right? Menus, menus all the time. They're always going to be widgets. It's always going to be made just like this. Okay? Making a widget isn't that hard. It's all drag and drop. On the left here, if I wanted to put buttons, I could just drag a button out here, and I could do different things with that. But what I want you to do is to drag a text. Drag text onto your widget, and do that now. Yeah, well, that's something that we'll have to figure out. All right, so you're dragging text into your world. All right, text. So in the details panel on the right, you can set what color that text is, what the words are, right? I want you to set the text to say seconds past. So you're typing in the word seconds past. That's what your text should say. Seconds past. Okay. And you can change the color, you can change the font, you make the size different, bigger, whatever. It's all kinds of stuff you could do with that. And what I want you to do is I want you now dragging another text onto your graph. Drag one more text. And for this text, we're actually going to set this text to be whatever that variable is over time, so that as you play, you'll see that go up. We'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll go up every second. So you're dragging a second text to your graph. And now the question is, how do we get it so that whatever text it displays is our variable? And this is through a process called binding. Okay, we're going to bind what's on the widget to our variable. So in the details panel, look for the text. And where it says bind, next to text, click bind, create binding. What it's going to do is going to give us our own little mini graph for updating that text with whatever variable we need to put into it. Okay. So can someone tell us where our variable exists, the one that we want to get? We want to get time variable, right? Where does it live? Hey guys, there's too much talking here for the lesson. Unless it's the people I asked to help, no one else should be talking. I'm sorry? Inputs? Cool. No, oh, but that could work. It's an easier way though. Where does our variable live though? Where do we code it on? No, not either. Where did we code it on originally? We coded on a certain blueprint, huh? Our character, right? Okay, so our variable lives on our character. So to get that variable, we first need to get the character. Right-click, type in get player character. For guys doing the physics ball stuff, you might have to do get player pawn instead. It's either going to be get player character or get player pawn. But if you're doing a physics ball, you get player pawn. Okay. Now drag off of that get player character, and now we want to look up, okay, what is the character? What blueprint is it? In my case, it's third person character, so I'm going to type in third person character. So type in the name of the blueprint that your character happens to be. It's a cast node, right? Cast the third person character. In my case, yours might be cast as 2D side scroller, cast the first person character, cast the physics ball, all that stuff. Okay. Make sure you connect the wires so that the front of that get text is going into the front of cast the third person character. Now that we have casted the third person character, or whatever character you have, where it says as third person character or as physics ball or as whatever, you can drag off that and get access to any of its variables. So drag off that blue circle on the cast node and type in the name of the variable you want. In this case, it's called time, so I'm going to look for my time variable. So Israel, will you help him out, please? Okay. All right. Next part's simple. Just plug in time right into the thing that says return value. And then plug the front of that into the return node. So plug it into return value, just connect all the wires. This additional node comes up automatically when you try and connect it in. The thing that says to text, it just automatically generates. Awesome. Okay. If you're froze, I did the same exact lesson last class, the class before it, and the class before that. Okay, one thing left to do, which is we need to add this widget to our player's screen. In a game, you might have, again, 50 widgets: load menu, pause menu, main menu, health bar, stamina bar, level up. It's not going to put them all up at once just because you made them. We need to tell Unreal, hey, put the widget on the screen. So we'll do that back on our character blueprint. So everybody now go back to your character blueprint. Go back to the character blueprint. Right-click and look up an event on the character blueprint called Event Begin Play. And we've done this one before. Somebody tell me what Event Begin Play does. It starts the game, right? Event Begin Play is an event that happens. How many times does it happen? Once and only once. When the game starts, it happens. So it's really useful for doing stuff at the beginning of the game, right when you start. So right-click, look up Begin Play. And if for whatever reason something's already using Begin Play, just do that sequence node that we talked about. All right, to add a widget, the first thing you want to look up is Create Widget. Look up the node called Create Widget. On the Create Widget node, it says Class, Select Class, little drop down. Click on that, and that lets you choose what widget are we creating. So if you click on Select Class of our Create Widget node, I'm going to choose Player Menu, the widget that I just made. Finally, last thing we want to do is drag off of return value on that Create Widget and choose Add to Viewport. So it's Create Widget, Add to Viewport. Make sure on Add to Viewport where it says Target, then the return value of the create widget is plugged into that. Because it has to know, hey, what are we adding to the viewport? We're adding the widget, so we need to know that. So event begin play, create widget, add a viewport, hit play. See if you have a menu countering timer that's going up as you play. You should. And I do. You probably want to do a fun play on that.
Oh, it's delayed by 1 second.
Yeah, no, I don't see